I'm Josellie Rios from Funimation, and this is One Piece at a Time. I'm your host and a social media producer. And in celebration of the One Piece anime's 20th anniversary, I'm watching the show for the first time, and every week, a seasoned fan rewatching the series will join me in exploring each episode following the Merry Route binge guide. So come on board on this adventure starting right now. So welcome back, everybody. We have Jonna with us this week again. Welcome, Jonna.
Hi, everyone.
So on the last podcast episode, which was episode 28, Luffy won the last round of the Davy back fight in the most badass way, beating Foxy. And so the crew goes on another adventure and gets their memories stolen by a seahorse who has millennial dragon dreams. And we're wondering if Zoro's still on our side. Last we met, we didn't know if he was still hypnotized by this seahorse or not. On this podcast episode, which is episode 29, we're going to go through anime episodes 224 to 231, and we'll see the conclusion of this short adventure, and we will finally reach Water 7,
Yay!
Which everybody has been talking so much about.
I'm so excited for you to finally see it.
Yes, everybody's always like, where you're at? And I'm like, I'm here. Oh, you're almost at Water 7. And I'm like, what's going to happen at Water 7?
Everything.
Episode 224. The last counterattack by the memory thief who reveals his true colors.
Yes. It's a very long episode title.
Yes. So basically here we see like the resolution of all of this.
Finally.
Yes.
Yeah, this is so cute because at this moment, this is a classic Oda move where it's like Zoro's walking onto the scene and you're like this kind of like is reflective of his writing. I felt really happy when the writers of this episode really took on that sort of attitude of like, you don't know.
Yeah.
Like he comes on looking creepy, but then like we find out.
Yeah. It's okay. He's fine.
he remembers, but that's not until after Sanji leaves him a big old kick.
Yeah.
Which I thought was super cool because it just busts the ground up completely. And you're just like, ooh, dang. Like he wasn't holding back.
Yep.
And then Zora's like, chill out. What are you doing? Like,
yeah.
It's me.
And even Luffy, like, catapults himself when he sees them fighting. And then it's like, but why? He's okay. Just everybody, chill.
Oh my gosh. And that catapult was so funny. Like, because his face as he's flying through the air, Luffy's face is just a perfect, like, just so derpy. And he's just flying through the air, just... Of course, I just ran into my crew, and this is how you're supposed to react in these situations.
Yeah, so then we see the thief, who reveals his true colors is the seahorse, and he starts using the memories of everybody against them and starts showing them, like, their loved ones. So they see, like, Bellamere, Kaya, Quina, and everybody.
Yes, all the people that they care about. And this is when Robin she kind of mentions like, oh, like these must be people from their past, which kind of points out that we don't get to see anyone from her past yet because we haven't gotten there yet.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, that's smart. That's why she didn't get her memories stolen, because then we would have seen everything.
Right. So we haven't gotten to that part in the story, so they just kind of made it that way. I love the part when Zoro is swimming after the seahorse and he's like trying to like wrangle the seahorse and Usopp is narrating it. You remember that part? And Usopp is basically making fun of Zoro's voice, which, if you realize, is basically Sunny Straight pretending to be Chris Sabat. Which I love the thought.
That's so true. I hadn't even thought about that. But it's true. Yeah, he starts making like both of voices.
Yes.
Of the
seahorse and Zoro.
Oh, man. Yes, that is hilarious.
Good moments.
So the seahorse then tells us his motivation, which I still don't understand quite well. But he wants to be a millennial dragon.
Yeah.
And so he steals these memories to be able to float away. Was that it?
Yeah, that's essentially it. He thinks these memories are going to give him power, and that power can turn him into a millennial dragon. So there's something that Luffy essentially says later, like when the little seahorse is remembering or thinking of these millennial dragons, he's picturing these ones that are like flying in the sky. And later when Luffy finally kicks, like he breathes in the memories, gets his memories back, and then he kicks the seahorse, and the line he says is, "You want to fly so bad, I'll send you flying." Mm-hmm. So I think this little seahorse guy, he just wanted to fly.
Yeah.
He just wanted to be out of the water and wanted to know what it's like to fly.
Oh, little seahorse.
And of course, that's Luffy making someone's dreams come true.
Exactly.
One way or another.
Yeah, now you're a flying seahorse.
Yes. It was so cute. And that was basically the end of it. Everyone gets their memories back. There's this part where Usopp and Chopper are walking through the forest with the crew, and Usopp is explaining how they've seen millennial dragons before, and he's referring to like a much earlier episode, and it was some of the first non-canon episodes in the series where they saw these millennial dragons. But the actual thing about dragons in One Piece is pretty intense. We have not seen any canon dragons yet.
Oh, really?
Not that I can remember.
Oh.
And there's a part later on in the series where they possibly do, and at that point it's, everyone's kind of like shocked that there are dragons.
Got it.
So
just the Straw Hats saw the millennial dragons when they went to Warship Island, but it's not canon, so
It's
nobody
not canon.
else technically has seen dragons.
It's not really, like the Straw Hats.
Just Nami, Zoro,
really.
the ones who were there.
Yeah,
just them four?
they've seen it. Yeah. The thing about dragons, Oda wrote some one-shot mangas before he wrote One Piece. One of them is called Monsters, and in Monsters there is a dragon, and I mean, this is something he created before One Piece. You can expect that there's influences.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to say this very lightly, but basically, like, dragons are a big deal. Get ready for them. And if you want to know more, definitely check out Monsters.
So the guys get to the village, and the villagers basically blame them for what happened.
Oh my gosh.
So they end
sad.
up running out of there. They leave, no rewards for anybody.
Very, very Straw Hat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then at the end, something happens that it got me super sad. Mm-hmm. They were talking about, what happened and everything. Mm-hmm. And Robin sort of thinks to herself, like, oh, if my memories were all taken away.
Yeah.
Like, it seems she wouldn't have minded, which made me so sad.
You think she wouldn't have minded?
Is that what she
That's an interesting take on that.
I was like, that's what I thought. I don't know her story. I was like, do you wish they were taken away? Like, is that what you mean?
That's a very interesting take. I will say, because I don't remember the first time watching this what I thought, but looking back and watching this now, I was thinking of basically like how bad that would be for the world if she lost her memories, or for the story and for Luffy and the guys if she had lost her memories.
So maybe that's what she meant.
Maybe, or maybe you're right. Maybe she did want to have them wiped. At
least for a moment, I guess. I don't know. That's the impression I got.
It could be either. It really could be either. I have no idea. Wow.
We'll find out.
Yes.
Episode 225, Proud Man, Silver Fox Foxy.
So at the very beginning of this, we actually see a guy on a bicycle at sea.
Yes.
Do you remember that scene?
Yes.
What did you think was happening then?
I have no idea.
You're like, how's this guy bicycling across the ocean?
How is he? It reminded me of way back when we first met Wapple before we got to Chopper's Island.
Okay.
And there's just this guy on the middle of the ocean just standing there.
Just there, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, is he running like under the sea road? Is there a ship below him that we can't see? So, but then he disappears. So I was like, yep, this is one of those things I'm just not going to know.
So this part is so cool because the Marines are like shouting, like, where is the Admiral? Where is he? Mm-hmm. And so they contact what are called the 5 Elder Stars. and you see these 5 like old guys in a room kind of talking and just saying, oh, he's probably just on a joyride.
Yes, I remember that.
Right, right. So what did you think of those guys? Do you remember seeing them anytime before at all?
No.
I think this might
so. Yeah, this is another one of those things that I feel it's like when we first saw the Mary Joie, like I couldn't make anything of it. It was just like a scene that I just had to watch, and I was like, I can't relate this to anything.
Right.
It's just, I was like.
I'm totally with you. Like, I remember.
And so that's the same thing. That's the same feeling. I was like,
exactly.
I can't make anything of this.
Right.
And now I can't forget because it's going to be important. And now I'm going to have to go back to it at some point.
I know. It's going to be important, but don't worry because even in the sub, they have only, in the past month or so, told us who these guys really are.
What?
Like,
all that time?
All this time. And we didn't really... I mean, you have your suspicions and, like, you know, you kind of piece things together, but they finally were, like, clearly announced, like, what they are. At least now you can see that they're important. Mm-hmm. You just don't get it. And that's
I
okay.
definitely don't get it, which is why I don't remember much about the interaction anyways, because I'm like, I can't relate it to anything.
Yeah.
I haven't had that aha moment. Yeah.
You'll get there.
Yeah. I feel like it's like with the Giants, remember at the beginning of the Skypiea? I was like, and then I completely forgot about that. And then at the end, they were like, oh, it's the shadow. And I'm like, got it.
Exactly. That's One Piece for you. That was at the beginning of the episode. And then it continues on. And that's when we see the Ranking Deke boat.
Yes.
In the middle of the ocean with Foxy pirates on it. You ready for this?
Oh my god, I'm not ready.
He's coming back.
He's back.
He's
but
back.
Why?
Because they're in their tiny little ship, and while the Straw Hats are struggling to keep the Going Merry together, and they're like, it'll be fine, you hear the exact same line being said by Foxy's crew over in their little rinky-dink ship.
Yeah.
The poor things. And they're too prideful to even ask for help, of course. So Luffy's like, fine, bye.
Yeah. That was hilarious. And then he's like, well, if you want to help us.
Right? Like, I mean, if you want to, please come back. Eventually, Luffy does help get them up on the ship. And so they're just sitting there, like, kind of having this moment, the Straw Hats and the Foxy Pirates all together. And it's really cute.
And then suddenly... the sexy Foxy appears. So, Foxy is super happy. He's like, yes, like I still have a ship. But when they get to the ship, they discover that the Foxy has a new captain. And so he challenges Foxy, and Foxy accepts to fight for the ship, right? For the ship and the crew.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. They start this fight, and Foxy's not doing well.
No.
He's not doing well at all. So... he sort of, I feel, tricks Luffy into helping him. Like, he gives him the afro. And I felt it was like a sort of a sob story.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like, kind of just laying on the cheese right there.
Yeah.
Just, it was the best time of my life.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So Luffy just puts on the afro and he's like, I'm going to get your groove back, Foxy man, because he obviously changes the way he talks.
Of course, he changes.
He puts on an afro.
Yes.
Which is just... not problematic at all.
No, not at all. Clearly not. Oh well.
So he gets straight into that. And this part is really funny to me because Robin and Chopper are out of it. They're just
This
playing
part is
games.
so cute because if you look at the board game they're playing, it really looks like it's just islands on a map going in a circle. Like, I think it's kind of like Find the One Piece, but like, you know, a game form in the world of One Piece. This is what it looks like to me.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't pay that much attention to it, but that would make all the sense.
It is so cute. I suspect that. I like to imagine that that's what it is.
Yes.
But
I love that. And
is.
he's just playing and he's hiding from Portia. He's like, it sounds like they're having a party, but he's like, no, I just want to stay here.
And did you catch the one part when they're going onto the other ship and Chopper hides in the barrel from hides away from Portia and all of them. He's like just hiding there, and Robin knocks on it and he says sodium, and she replies hydrogen phosphate.
Oh no! Like a code?
That's their code. That was his little like secret code of like
I was wondering what that was. It made no sense to me, Jonna.
So it was so cute because it's like, I mean, they're both just such nerds. You see a lot of this, especially around like these episodes we're gonna go over of how like, you know, they're both little bookworms and stuff. That's a joke in there, and they're just total sciencey history buffs. And I looked up sodium hydrogen phosphate just out of curiosity. It's just like a salt compound. It's nothing too special. Like helps make your Jello pudding a solider thing. I don't know. Useful. That's my science for you.
But I love that because it was cute. Since they got I guess drafted into the Foxy crew on the last couple episodes, I feel like they really bonded.
Yeah,
they were like, you know, holding hands and
that's a very good point too, because they already went through the worst of it.
Yeah.
I think they decided to give those two a break in this one and let them be the you know, outside of it on this one.
Agreed. So Luffy then starts fighting for Foxy, and Zoro and Sanji and Usopp join him, and you know, it's like this whole silly fight going on.
Yes.
And yeah, eventually Luffy defeats the captain, and instead of being grateful, Foxy just traps them below the deck of the ship. And I was like, honestly,
I know. This whole thing was him just he was hyping up the One Piece pirates and like telling the Fang Frog captain like, oh yeah, the Straw Hats, they have such high bounties on their head, and like they have all this gold, like, and just charging them up. And he's also charging up Luffy so that they fight against each other, and then, you know, Foxy can just, you know, like stay out of it. And Luffy does fight for him and then just throws him in the brig.
Yeah.
Oh, such a Foxy move. It made me mad.
Such a Foxy move. Also, I was ready for it to be over. I was like, let's move on. But no. Still have to deal with more Foxy. On home video, One Piece Adventure of Nebulandia is available now on Blu-ray and DVD. You can watch it dubbed for the first time, and it comes with an exclusive interview with the English cast, Ian Sinclair, the voice of Brook, and Michael Johnson, the voice of Kome. Also, One Piece episode of East Blue is now up for pre-order. It'll be coming out September 24th, also dubbed for the first time, with an exclusive 20th anniversary documentary featuring the English cast and the Funimation crew. You can get them both at funimation.com/shop.
Episode 226. The guy who's the closest to invincible and the most dangerous man.
The crew is trapped in the brig because Foxy, is a cheat. Mm-hmm. And I thought this went very differently from what I thought it was gonna be.
Really?
I was like, well, I guess we're gonna be here forever now, trying to escape the ship.
No, yeah, you thought this would be a long, But no, Sanji is just like, why don't we kick through the walls? And he does.
Very smart, because, I mean, he does have a powerful kick.
He does, and it makes sense. It's kind of silly in so many other stories you see that where they seem to be trapped in a room, and you're like, why don't you just break the walls?
Yeah.
And he did. So thank you, Sanji, so much for kicking down that door, because now we get to see Foxy dressed as Portia.
The most horrible Portia face.
The most horrible, creepy one.
Even how, like, how do you call that?
What, the
cleavage?
The V-neck?
Yes, yeah, the V-neck.
Yeah.
And it was awful.
It was awful. And Luffy goes up and he's like, what are you doing? Where's Foxy? And you're like, what do you...
Oh, my God.
They're like, look at his face.
Yeah, and he's like, I know who you are. You're Portia's sister. And I'm
Portia's sister?
No, Luffy.
I was so upset. I was like, that's such a Luffy thing to do.
And it's always like the same face with the cutout.
Yeah, with the round
here.
hole for his dumb nose and his huge chin.
Luffy.
Oh, my gosh. And like, it's funny because it cuts scenes to Chopper over on the ship, and he like gets a chill on his spine.
Mm-hmm.
And Ramen's like, are you okay, Doctor?
Yeah.
Which I thought was so cute. She called him Doctor.
Yeah. But he's fine. They just keep playing. And honestly, I was thinking, and here's another perfect example of me not knowing anything, thinking that I know what Oda's going to do with anything or whoever. And I'm like, yes, they are going to save them because they're outside.
Yeah,
So
sure.
Robin and Chopper are gonna come save the day.
Of
But they never do.
You would think. No, they just sit there, and Robin is consistently just like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah,
And
everything's okay.
it's good.
So they make it out,
Yes.
and Usopp and Nami find like this door to a hallway.
To a hallway where all these like prisoners or something are underneath.
Yeah. So
And
they
then-
can just look up and grab you. And I'm like,
The
well,
whole-
how
the
creepy
whole-
is this?
Yeah, because Nami's wearing a skirt.
Yeah,
They're having
I'm
her
like,
walk over it. I'm like,
no.
oh, everything about this is not okay.
Yeah, I know.
And Nami even tries. She's like, I don't care if they leer. I'm going to get across. And you're just like, oh, no. Oh, no. But then she just, like, basically leaves Usopp behind and, like, uses him. Because he does a flash bomb. He's like, don't
Yeah.
worry. And he does a flash bomb, and they're all blinded. And she runs across. But they catch Usopp.
Yeah.
And she's just like, all right, bye.
Bye, Usopp, sorry.
Thanks. Oh, and meanwhile, the scene where Foxy slow beams on Zoro and Sanji, and so they're falling on each other face to face.
Oh my god, yes.
And they're both like about to like kiss, basically. And they're both just like, no, stop falling on me. And luckily they barely save themselves, so then they just get into a forehead to forehead like anger match, and you're like, come on, what are y'all even doing?
Yeah, guys, come on.
Meanwhile, Luffy and Nami get into this one room together, and that's where Foxy basically wanted to trap them because they're the smarter, stronger fighters, I guess. I don't know. And he brings out the gorilla puncher,
Yes.
or as Luffy calls it, gorilla pants. and then Nami has to use her thunderstorm tempo to basically like douse it with water, and then
Which was
Luffy-
pretty smart.
smart, very clever.
So the punches can't burn Luffy. So yeah, and then basically that's where he finds an opening and finally wins. And I'm like, can we just move on
Can we
from the
just move
Foxy
on?
Pirates? I mean, I
Yeah.
enjoyed it
I know.
for a
I
while.
know.
It's like,
Well,
I'm ready.
It's understandable. I mean, these two episodes were also mostly non-canon,
yeah.
so it was essentially a filler, which is fine though, because I thought I love the Foxy Pirates, even though they're stupid as heck.
They're
And
so
like
silly.
you can enjoy like the little things that they throw in here,
Yes.
because basically Luffy, tells him to take back his crew, and then they separate. They go their separate ways. Like Straw Hats head off to another island, while the Foxy Pirates follow them.
Yes. And I did enjoy this part, like this end part.
Yes.
Where they're having like the beach barbecue.
Beach barbecue,
Yeah.
yummy food, and Sanji is wearing his Doskoi Panda
Yeah.
apron. Have you seen that before?
No, I
Did we ever talk about that?
No.
Okay, so Doskoi Panda is actually a brand, a nice brand in the One Piece world. Like Oda has talked
Really?
about this, and they have like rip-off brands too, where it's like Dusko 1 instead of an I, it's a 1 panda, and it's like it's just like a nice brand of clothes. So apparently, like I bet Sanji's apron is probably expensive.
Of course.
Fancy
Of course it
chef
is.
apron. Yeah, so keep an eye out.
Yes.
If you ever see
What's
see
it
that
called,
again.
you said?
Doskoi Panda.
Doskoi Panda is
Yeah.
the brand.
Yes.
The cool brand.
Yes.
Nice. Love it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I love that whole beach barbecue.
Yeah.
Because not everything can be fighting and stuff.
Not exactly,
you know.
and it's just them eating
yeah,
and
and
having
having
fun.
fun because they're pirates. They get to do fun, cool stuff.
And eventually they, shake off the Foxy Pirates and with their stupid crab machine, and they
That Luffy
Yeah.
wants to eat.
he wants to eat, and it's like, come on, Luffy, it's metal. What?
Yeah, even when he pulls out one of the arms, and it's like, can you see that is a machine, sir?
Sir. Sir. Clearly not. But so they're finally defeated, and the Straw Hats walk through the island to get more food, and that's when they notice a bicycle tread. Mm-hmm. And Robin especially seems to kind of regard it a little nervously.
They get to a clearing where there's this rock, and Chopper sees a mushroom on top and goes to get it. It's not a mushroom, it's Admiral Aokiji?
Admiral Aokiji.
Aokiji. It's his head.
Yes, it's his head.
So Chopper falls over. Luffy comes running. Are you okay, Chopper? And they just see this tall ass man.
Yes,
just
he's
standing
huge.
there. He's huge.
He's huge.
Like Luffy's almost half his
pretty much his height. Yeah,
his height. And I'm like, oh man, you are tall.
And
sir.
I think he is. I don't even know if he's the tallest among the 3 admirals.
Wow.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Like One Piece definitely has a tendency to kind of paint the more important characters as larger. Like just physically in size. It's just a thing.
Interesting.
But it doesn't mean like it's kind of like saying like the size may be intimidating, but Luffy can still overcome it. You know, It just makes his challengers look physically
superior.
impeding. Yeah.
Yeah,
imposing.
That makes me think of Inaru. You're right. They're usually like super imposing.
Yeah. Anyway, he talks to Robin. He's like, "Oh, you've grown into quite a lovely lady," and he knows her by name.
Yeah, and she was super scared to see him.
Yes.
Like she even fell backwards, and I was like,
Yes.
"Whoa," because you never see Robin lose her cool.
Yeah, she's unflappable until this guy.
And that's where it ends.
That's where it ends.
Like, no. Episode 227, Navy Headquarters, Admiral Aokiji. The ferocity of an ultimate powerhouse. This is, at this point, I'm just like, oh my god, okay, what's going on here? Because Robin lost her cool, and I was worried, honestly.
Yes. This Admiral Aokiji, he is one of the world government's ultimate powerhouses, and one of the only 3 admirals in the Navy. So we get the names of those other admirals. So this is Aokiji, and then there's Akainu and Kizaru. And there's only one person above all 3 of those in the Navy, and that is Fleet Admiral Sengoku. So that's the Navy's top official, and he's even more powerful than they are. So it's just like, it's huge.
It is. I just want to know how he relates to Robin.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Exactly. So he comes in and you have this kind of introduction of who he is. And the first thing he does is hit on Nami.
Oh my god, yes, of course.
And and the Straw Hats are like, they're on edge because, you know, Robin is freaking out.
Yeah.
Robin doesn't freak out. So they're all just like, what is going on? How do you know him? What's happening? And he's just like, oh, just be chill. You know, it's cool. He's like, my motto is total slovenly justice. Basically, be lazy. And he even like lays down and like to sleep in front of them when they're ready to attack. And this is kind of just Oda's way of painting a picture of someone who is so above Luffy's power that he just doesn't care.
Yeah, or worry or anything. He's just like super chill.
He's not worried, very chill.
That makes sense.
Yes.
So he says that he's there to confirm Nico Robin's whereabouts, since last they saw her was at Alabasta. And he starts like making this whole speech that is sort of confusing to me and a little bit creepy, because he starts talking about their bounties and how maybe he should, you know, maybe I should kill you. And I'm like, whoa, man.
Yeah.
Weren't you just like chill a second ago?
Yeah. Yeah, he's so chill, but he's saying like, I don't know, Robin, you're like such a threat to the world government that they've given you such a big bounty of 79 million berries that, you know, maybe we should just take you out now.
Yeah. And I'm like, and then suddenly a bunch of castaways appear.
Yes.
And then it's like, okay, so many things are happening.
A lot of things are happening at once. It's a little bit off-putting. But yeah, these guys show up and they say, our ship was hit by a frog doing the front crawl.
Front crawl. Whatever that means.
And Admiral Aokiji is like, oh yeah, that's Yokozuna. And everyone's just kind of moves on from that, whatever. And they're like, oh yeah, and we saw a guy on a bicycle. And he's like, oh yeah, that's me. So he's just like, oh yeah, whatever. And Luffy is like, you know, he's trying to call on Aokiji because Aokiji's like, oh yeah, we'll help you out. We'll, I'll get you back to an island, you know, where you'll be fine. And Luffy's like, don't listen to him. He's a Marine.
Yeah.
And the guys are like, and?
Right, Luffy, you're the pirate.
You're the pirate.
He's
You're the bad
one
guy.
Yeah, exactly. We're supposed to trust.
That was so cute.
That's true.
but-
The Admiral just freezes the ocean
Yes.
to allow them to go through.
So that was a really cool moment where he reaches down into the, like, ocean water, which is supposed to weaken these fruit users.
Yeah.
But he just reaches in, and he's able to use his power to freeze the top of the ocean and create a path to the next island for this group of people. And you have this moment where he's actually kind of working with the Straw Hats and, like, a little bit, like, kind of friendly, seem to be getting along. But yeah, that's his Ice Age power. And you're just like, what? And he even says it can stay frozen for a week.
What is that? What is that?
It's just his devil fruit power, and he's
crazy.
that powerful. And so one thing to note, the passengers might seem a little bit weird because in the manga what actually happened is they were still in the Long Island arc. Sorry, I probably butchered that one. I cannot remember it. The long round
super
island.
long island.
Yes, the super long island. They were still there.
When he appeared.
Yes, when Aokiji appeared.
Okay.
Because the Foxy Pirates left and then Aokiji came in. And then the person that he sent off was Tanjit, the old guy.
Oh, back to his village?
Back to his clan.
Instead
on the
of
island
the long mole?
Exactly. Like, and so basically he
I
made
like
a
that
path.
better.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he made a path directly to, where his clan was in the little ring of islands. So he could just go straight there.
So he did a nice thing.
He did a nice thing.
I mean, an even nicer thing. He's doing a nice thing here,
Yeah.
but it means more.
It means a
for
little bit
Tangent,
more.
Definitely.
Yes. And so it fits a little bit better in there just because it kind of makes sense. But the anime did a good job of still keeping the point of showing,
Yes.
one, the incredibleness of his powers.
Yeah.
And two, that he does have, like, a kind heart. Mm-hmm. At least enough to help citizens.
And some sense of service.
Yes.
Yeah, because he's
Which you
a
don't
Marine.
always see in the movies.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but then he goes into how he knows Luffy's grandpa.
Uh-huh.
What did you
And
think?
I'm like, what? Wait, Grandpa? Who was he? How do you know? One Piece does this a lot, where they'll just name drop someone,
Yes.
but then say absolutely nothing else about it.
Yes.
Like when Robin met Luffy, she said something about people with the letter D on their names, and I still don't know what that is.
It's okay, neither do we on the
Oh,
subside.
man.
I mean, we've learned more and more, but these are still, like, the big mystery things of One Piece, of, like, who is that exactly? What exactly does that mean?
So that's how I felt. I was like, oh no, this is another thing. Now I don't know
This
where
is
when
another
I will
thing.
know.
Yes.
So Luffy's grandpa. Luffy has a grandpa.
He has a grandpa.
Who has a history here.
Yes.
Man.
And
he looks like him, apparently.
Apparently. So Aokiji is like, you're the spitting image of your grandpa. And he implies that he kind of owes a debt to that grandpa.
Yeah.
So we still don't know what that story is either. We don't know what debt Aokiji owes to his grandpa. Like,
No,
even at sub level.
And then he starts talking more about how dangerous Robin is, and
Yes.
we see her afraid. Like, we're always sort of cutting into her face. And, like, I see panic in her face.
She's
like, oh, man,
terrified
yeah,
because she knows this guy. They have a past. And the thing is, he says he let her escape from him when she was only 8 years old. And that was when she got her 79 million berry bounty.
How? Why?
Why? What happened? Can you imagine an 8-year-old
No.
getting a bounty on it? Like, what in the world sets up for that? It is just a good, heart-crushing story.
Oh my god!
as
I
you
can't
can
wait,
expect. It's so
honestly.
good.
I can't wait. So yeah, and then the crew reacts in a very cool way because they all automatically defend her.
They defend her after because he's saying this thing, which is very important. This is kind of setting up the arc for Robin.
Okay.
And he's saying, like, everywhere you go, Robin, you just kind of, you flip-flop between sides and you leave, the teams or the people that you're with basically so that you can survive. And it's, she's kind of bad for people because the world government is after her.
Yeah.
They hurt the people around her. So she's just going to bring calamity on the Straw Hat Pirates, and they're going to regret having her on their team. And they're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
We're all pirates. We're all, like, messed up. We all have our own problems. And, like, we love Robin, you know?
And Luffy's like, oh, like, it doesn't matter who you were, which is his constant. Like, he doesn't care who anybody was.
That is key.
Before. Yeah. He's like, doesn't matter who you were. It matters who you are, which is true. I mean, all that matters is what you decide to do moving forward. So, yeah. And then Aokiji makes an ice blade, and Zoro jumps in to defend her too, which was even more impressive to me because he's the one that likes her the least.
Yeah, he had some issues, with trust issues, I guess, in the beginning and stuff. And yeah, he just, like, steps in there with his swords and against Aokiji's ice saber. And Sanji steps in too, and then Luffy steps in, and Aokiji just freezes them.
Yeah.
Like that. Like nothing.
In a second. And then he sort of, I don't know, hovers over Robin and, like, freezes her up completely.
Just the iciest hug.
Yeah, right? Then I'm thinking, like, okay, I need to know how fantasy are we going with this? Like, because this is super dangerous, right? Just freezing to death is a thing.
Yes.
You can lose limbs, like, you...
Well, they even ask it later. They're like, how is she even breathing?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
and I'm like, okay, what is going to happen? And then next episode.
You'll never know.
You'll never know. Before we move on to next episode, I do have our social question.
Ooh.
Which we asked everybody on our Facebook at One Piece Official and Twitter at One Piece Anime. And the question was, what was your first impression of Aokiji? So let's see what you said. So on Facebook, Shari Mutulo says, he's one of my favorites. Lazy, but is quite powerful and has a laid-back sense of justice. Interesting, because right now, obviously I just met him and I'm like, oh man, this guy is bad. Like, I don't see that yet. But you guys know him. I wonder what's coming. Oh, man. Stephanie Elaine says, my first impression of Aokiji, he's so chill for a Marine. And when he uses his devil fruit power, he's so cool. He's my most favorite Marine since then. Oh, wow. Ooh. I've never heard anybody talk about a Marine like this.
Yeah.
On One Piece so far.
It is neat.
I wonder. Sandra says, same as Luffy, funny but dangerous somehow. Luffy has great intuition. If he thinks someone looks suspicious or a good person, he's usually right. Huh. And then Talha Kausar says, second most badass after Shanks. Wow, that's
all right.
Do you think that's accurate? Since I wouldn't know.
Like, badassery wise? Like,
yeah.
If you're ranking to, like, pirate to marine, yeah? I mean, I could see that, but that's definitely a very high
claim.
High claim. Yes.
Let's see what some people say on Twitter. RCDC says, he's dangerous. A man who is okay with just sleeping out there in the middle of nowhere without a care is either incredibly foolish or incredibly powerful, so that he's not worried. My money was on the latter of the two. So incredibly powerful. Rock and Rattle says, he was a game changer. After Luffy beat Croc, fans like me thought Luffy was top tier. Turns out he was low tier in comparison, which was effing bananas. Oh,
that's a very good
man.
point. That's a very good point. I want to know your thought on that, Jocelyn.
Well, now I'm like, I don't even know what to think.
You don't quite know yet. You haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Seen it just
I mean,
yet.
Definitely I can see that he's super powerful. He just froze a complete person in a second. And he can freeze the ocean, which...
Right.
Super hard.
Right.
For a week.
Yes.
So it just makes me think about, when we actually have to fight him. I'm guessing. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Rock and Rattle, you have rattled my world right now.
Ooh.
So thank you everybody for your answers. They were all great. Don't forget to check out our next social question on Facebook at One Piece Official and Twitter One Piece Anime. So let's take a little break and we'll continue after this.
Episode 228, Duel Between Rubber and Ice, Luffy versus Aokiji.
Oh, man. I now have to go through this again, thinking of all the things that people said about Aokiji. I'm like, huh. Now I'm seeing this like with a different light.
Yeah,
sorta.
are you? I mean,
yeah.
That's so cool.
Now I can't just, think that he's bad by default, apparently.
It's so complicated. It's so...
It looks like it.
He's a truly complicated character. It depends on how you want to see him. I mean,
man.
He straight up threatens to kill Nico Robin right then and there. She's frozen, and he's like, I can just crush her. And he reaches his arm out, and I'm a little like, no, is he really gonna? My first time seeing it, I was not sure what to believe.
Yeah.
Were you afraid?
Yeah,
at
I
any
was
point?
afraid.
Yeah.
Because he was right there. And I was like,
Right.
oh, man, is this how it ends?
Is this it?
Is this the end for Robin? Or is he really not gonna do it?
Like, how serious is he? And the thing is, he probably would have, but Luffy grabs her, does this weird backbend, and saves her, and then Usopp does a really good tag team, runs in and rescues her, and brings her back over to the ship with Chopper. But so for a second you're like, okay, he's safe. Still, Nami stands up for Robin, and he knocks Nami back.
Yeah.
And then that's when Zoro and Sanji especially were like,
Yes.
no, and they go in. But then Luffy says a really important thing. He says, no, stop, don't fight him. I want to fight him one-on-one.
Yes.
So then Aokiji is now determined to kill Luffy.
And then we cut to Chopper on the ship tending to Robin, and there I found out that yes, this is real world ice. It's super dangerous. We have to unfreeze her carefully so she doesn't die or lose an arm or something.
Right.
Or her heart doesn't stop. And I'm like, oh
exactly.
my God, this is a very dangerous situation right now.
It is very dangerous. Like the way Usopp and Chopper are talking, it is such a stressful situation. Little Chopper is just stop talking to me and let me focus.
Yeah.
Because he's saying things like, I don't know, I don't even know if this is going to work, if putting her in the water and trying to thaw her from the inside out is going to work, but we definitely can't do it too fast or she'll crack. And it's just oh my gosh. Really think about it. That is not...
Super stressful.
Also, just had to point out, that the bathroom on the Going Merry is actually kind of pretty. I
don't think we had ever seen it before.
I don't think we really seen it. It's just lovely.
So I was that's good.
Nice,
I
mean,
I would need that kind of bathroom. A good bathroom. Right. Spending all that time on that ship with a bunch of people.
Feeling all salty all the time.
Yeah.
Get their floor-to-ceiling tiling and their, one, square bathtub, soaking tub and stuff. They're like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, Straw Hats.
Nice. And then Luffy fights Aokiji. It doesn't last very long, though, because he basically just
it is pretty
freezes him
quick.
Yeah.
Yes. Aokiji freezes him so fast, but the thing is, he does it mid-air. And the next thing you see, Luffy is he has been set on the ground, and Aokiji is standing in front of him, kind of talking to himself and to Luffy. And you do have to realize that Aokiji could have just thrown him to the ground, let him crash there.
Yeah.
But he set him down. So then you realize that Luffy's caught Aokiji in a catch-22 by doing the one-on-one fight. Because now that Luffy is frozen and, can't defend himself, Aokiji would be the bad guy if he goes and hurts his crew.
That's true.
And the other thing, he doesn't. He could go hurt the crew, but he doesn't because he doesn't want to be the bad guy. So even though Aokiji's plan was to kill Luffy, he also mentions that he owes Luffy a debt because Luffy kind of took care of Crocodile back in Alabasta. So you wonder, was he really going to kill Luffy from the start? This whole time, and it's he really clearly could have so easily and didn't. And you realize they really scraped by the skin of their teeth.
Yes.
One other thing I wanted to mention, too, is that while this fight is going on between Luffy and Aokiji, back on the ship, Sanji and Zoro talking with Usopp. Usopp is like, why are you here? Why aren't you with Luffy fighting? And Sanji is like, Captain's orders. we just came back because Luffy told us he wanted a one-on-one fight, and Usopp loses it.
Yeah.
And this is foreshadowing.
Really?
This is them setting something up that you're going to see later. It is setting up the character motivations because Usopp clearly states his values when he says, why would you listen to Luffy's orders if it's unreasonable? Meanwhile, you see the rest of the crew is very much like, captain's orders, you gotta follow it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind.
Oh. Usopp has a mind of his own.
Yes.
Which can be a good thing, considering
It can be.
Luffy's decisions sometimes.
This is actually like a pretty tough debate. You know, when should you follow your leader or not?
Yeah.
Is it good or bad? What's that line?
I feel like we're gonna be able to debate this more at some point. Ooh, I'm gonna watch her Usopp now.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So, Aokiji gives this last warning about Robin, and, you know, after sending Luffy off, kind of frozen, leaving him there, he's like, this is what it means to have Robin as part of your crew.
Man.
So
Robin.
Yeah.
Getting all this bad rap. I just want to find out.
I know. What is it?
What is it? So Aokiji leaves to the next island. He figures out where they're going.
Uh-huh.
And he says, Water 7. And so he jumps on his bicycle. And now we see how he did it.
Now you see it. Yeah. Now you see how he bikes.
Yes. He freezes the water in front of him and allows him to make a path of ice through the water. And I'm like, that is a very interesting mode of transportation. Yeah. Because technically, you can pick any other vehicle. It doesn't have to be a bike. Right. But he chose a bike. Which healthy.
Yeah, get a little workout. So then this part is kind of cool because Nami and the crew plan to stay for 3 days at port to rest, which they hardly ever do. And then you also just get to see them resting.
Yeah.
What were those scenes like for you? Because I remember them.
I don't know. It just seems so normal. I think I've mentioned this before, but I always love like those down moments of where they're just being a normal crew on a ship. Like, right? Sanji's cooking and Luffy and Robin are just sleeping.
Right. It is so precious. Yeah. I still remember seeing that for the first time and remembering those scenes, and like I love these little nuggets of like their daily lives on the ship. So we also get a glimpse of Nami's diary, this is cool. We haven't really seen this before. I don't think so. This is her reading from it, and she just talks about how they're now on their way to Water 7, and Sanji makes a potato pie for all of them, which looks delicious. I have no idea what that is. I want that.
It does.
So good.
It looks so good, and they all love it. And then we see Usopp and Chopper doing the most adorable thing where they're just standing outside the door yelling for Luffy.
Cheering for Luffy. Come on out.
Yeah, they're like, Luffy. And Luffy comes out and they're like, yay, we've been waiting for this. And then you see like Luffy's really the heart of the crew. Like he really gives joy.
Yes, he does. And he even does a whole little skit where he pops a bag of flour and like pretends like he's frozen. Yeah. Oh, it's so cute.
It is adorable.
But then shortly after that, Robin also wakes up. And the whole crew kind of just goes silent. I think they probably carry a little bit of like tension and question. No one's going to ask because, you know, her past is her past. But I wonder if they wonder what was the deal.
Yeah.
I don't
true.
know.
I didn't think about that.
I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe they're just so wholesome, so much more wholesome than any of us, and they don't care, and they're just glad that she's awake. And Sanji makes her coffee on a Bunsen burner.
Yes.
The coolest coffee ever. Like, oh my gosh. That was cool.
I'm just glad they have coffee. I'm like, oh yeah, you have coffee. That's amazing.
I know, right? Yeah. Just so normal.
Yeah. I mean, I could definitely join that crew. They have a nice bathroom. They have coffee. I think I could definitely survive on the Grand Line.
Which is also where Zoro spots a frog. in the ocean.
Doing the front crawl.
It's doing the front crawl, and apparently that just blows everyone's mind because
Yes.
frogs are supposed to just do breaststrokes. And so we heard, this in the previous episodes where they mention it briefly.
Yeah.
So we kind of realized, okay, this is a thing. But they lose their stuff, and they're
Yes.
just, like, going after this. They even change course. They're like, follow the frog. Even Nami is like, what are you doing? They're like, gotta get the frog. Gonna cook him because Luffy wants to eat this frog. And even Sanji's on board. And he's like,
Yeah.
oh, you need to saute it or whatever.
Deep
whatever.
fry it.
It's-
I'm like, we're going along with this? We don't even know if it's sentient.
They even whip out these giant oars.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember the ship ever having oars, but it does. It has oars, and they're like paddling away and changing course and just going after this thing. And suddenly you see these buoys in the water, and the ship just hits something in
Yes.
the middle of nowhere.
Uh-huh. And then we see, like, railroad lights.
Yeah.
And, yeah, they start, like, doing the noise. Ding, ding, ding,
Uh-huh,
ding. And I'm like, wait, what is this? What is happening? Yeah, that's it. The episode ends. It looks like they're on a railroad. I'm like, how is there a railroad
Well,
here?
a train is coming their way.
Yeah.
A train
How?
in the middle of the ocean. And this is the best part. Okay. Episode 229, The Dashing Sea Train and the City of Water, Water 7. Okay, I love the sea train. I don't know how to explain this other than just I grew up, my dad introduced us to, like, trains, had little train sets. I even had a little model train when I was a kid. I love trains. And the sea train is so cool.
I mean, it's a train on the ocean.
It's a train
That's
on the
crazy.
ocean. All right, so I have to say also, trains are actually kind of, you see them as a common motif in a lot of Japanese anime.
Yeah?
Yeah, like public transportation is big in Japan anyway.
yeah,
they do it
like
so great.
I was thinking just about this kind of train, like
Not-
sort of on a railroad train.
Kind of.
Just any kind of train.
So that's the thing. There's a lot of like there was an older show called Galaxy Express 39, famous, older anime, and that was a space train. It was a train that flew through space.
Oh,
like,
my God.
like to other stars and stuff. And it's so kind of strange, but beautiful. There's that kind of nostalgic feel that, steam engines tend to have.
Yes.
And then also sea trains. This isn't the first time the world has kind of seen this idea in anime. Do you remember Spirited Away?
No.
There's a train on the water in there. And that came out in 2002, whereas this chapter, I think, came out sometime in 2004. So, did one influence the other? I don't know. But, I mean, you see this kind of stuff. It is, it's cool.
It's trains. It's cool. It's a train on the ocean.
Oh, it's a train on the ocean, and I geek out about it.
I love it.
So, they escape this train the last minute.
Last minute escape from the train. And there's a little girl and her grandmother who live in the lighthouse. And she comes out. They come out to see what's going on. And their names are Kokoro and Chimney. It's just hilarious to me.
They're so cute.
Yeah,
I love those names.
Yeah, their little lipstick hearts, which I always find adorable.
They're very cute. And of course, Kokoro is drunk as heck.
Yes.
She just kind of stumbles out and is like, oh no, pirates, we should do something. And then they get very easily bought over with food.
Yeah. Fair. Yeah. Fair. So they sort of explain how the train works, which was a little confusing to me. So the train goes from island to island, right? On the Grand Line. So we find out there's another way of moving on the Grand Line.
Yes.
Nice.
But it only exists here. Like, there is no other train like this in the world. They state that. And what is weird is, like, Nami asks, is this a steam engine? Which I kind of didn't realize that there were engines of really any sort in One Piece. Normally it's animals.
True.
It's all animal-powered stuff. But I think it's more what fuels it. I don't think there's gas power. I don't know. I'd have to look into it. But engines and mechanics are weird in One Piece.
I think the only thing other than the waivers resembling some kind of engine is what we saw inside Eneru's arc That's what I feel is the only piece of technology that we've seen that these engineers in the sky made.
Yes.
So I wonder who made this train.
Who knows? But they'd have to be very brilliant because there's very little like this in the world, if anything. And so this train goes around to a few other nearby islands. There's Spring Queen, St. Poplar, Poochie, which is the gourmet town that people had went to.
I'm excited.
And then there's the carnival town of San Faldo. So it's just a bunch of islands and a very convenient train.
Yeah.
Brilliant system.
Yeah, train hop around the island. Sounds like fun.
For real. I would love to take a train on the ocean.
And then she talks to them about Yokozuna too. And I'm like sumo?
I don't...
This I learned on Hinomaru Sumo this past season. So Yokozuna is a sumo rank. It's like the ultimate sumo rank.
Okay. All right.
So I was like, so does this frog do sumo? Like, no, I don't know. I think maybe it's just...
He definitely squares off with the train in the way that a sumo wrestler kind of hunkers down and has that form.
Like stance, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know.
Could be.
And I mean, it's the clash of two, forces like that. But it's a train.
So, it's against a train.
So it's like, what is this sweet little frog thinking?
I don't know.
What do you think you're doing?
So, yeah. And Kokoro tells them about Water 7 and how it's full of shipwrights. So Luffy's super happy because he's been saying for a while that they need a shipwright.
Yes.
And I'm like, ooh, we're finally gonna get it.
Right? I mean, and they're like, oh, he has to be like 16 feet tall. Yeah. Which is funny that they say that. And they're also, and she described Water 7 as basically a convention of ships. ShipCon. I mean,
ShipCon.
Can we call it that?
Yes.
So they head that way, and she's given them a map of the city and also like a little kind of letter of recommendation, I guess.
Yes.
To a guy named Iceberg.
Ooh.
We'll see.
We'll see. Nami does this before they get there. She hands them their allowance, which was hilarious to me.
God,
because it was like very mom-like. Okay, guys, we're about to hit port. Like, let's give you your allowance. I'm like, oh, Nami.
Mommy Nami.
Yeah, everyone's mommy here.
She's so cute. But this is around the part where they finally get to see Water 7. And what did you think of that beautiful fountain city?
So beautiful.
Right?
Just like very majestic. And I like how it's all very like the tone, it's all whites and blues and all those very pure hues, sorta. I really liked it. And then the layout of the city, once like they get closer and you see that it's sort of like a Venice of sorts.
Yes. It reminded me of that too. I was thinking that too. It is so Venice.
Yeah. And I was like, oh man, I really love to go there. Like,
yes.
It was one of those places that few places actually on One Piece that I've been like, oh, I really want to go there and check that out and just explore that city.
I love kind of the setting that they designed for this whole arc. Like this island is it's definitely one of my favorites as a place.
Yes. Later on, like we see the elevator, they have like technology to make things work. And I'm like, wow, like it's a very nice system that they have going on.
It is. And like if you stop and think about it, Oda came up with all of that in his head. Yeah. One dude was just like, oh, here's how a city would work with like all this water.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that's amazing. He's so smart.
Yeah, and their economy is based on this, and they would transport on these things that we'll see now.
How it would actually work, like function, and the canals and everything. Oh my gosh. Anyway. Okay.
We're getting ahead of ourselves.
We are getting very ahead of ourselves. But... So, Usopp and Luffy are about to leave on this exciting adventure there, and Nami is like, wait.
Yeah.
You're coming with me. I need you, because we're going to go, they have to go trade in their, like, stash of gold for some real, like, money, cash that they can use. And then they have to take that cash and see if they can get the Mary fixed.
Yes. They go and they rent these bulls, which are these kind of animals that look like horses, sorta. And then they have like you can put like a tiny boat on top of them. Back. Yeah. And then Yeah, you're not actually floating on the boat. The boat is on top of the animal, and they float.
And the
I'm
animals
like,
are so cute.
Yeah.
I
And
lost
so,
it. Oh, they're
happy.
so cute.
Yeah.
They're so friendly. They're just like little horses,
Yes.
and they're like just derpy, and they can't wait to go swimming around with a little boat saddle. Like,
Yes. And I also want to
love
mention
it.
that Nami's outfit here is pretty cool.
It is pretty
She
cute.
changed into a little button shirt,
Yeah.
short sleeve with a tie and a skirt. And I'm like,
I was like, ooh,
that looks
that's
nice.
cute.
I totally wear that. Yeah.
Yeah, outfit changes in One Piece
I
are
love
pretty awesome. I love when they do that.
Me too. So yeah, they got their bowls and now they're going to explore. To be
Yay.
continued. And don't forget, you can watch all One Piece anime episodes on Funimation.com/One Piece or the Funimation Now app. And check out our blog at funny.to/One Piece podcast for all the info on binge routes, characters, and more. Episode 230. Adventure in the City on the Water. Head to the Mammoth Shipbuilding Plant. Yes, exploring. So yeah, in this episode, they have a lot of fun, like going through the canals.
Yes. I have a lot of fun watching it.
Me too.
Like, I want to do it so bad. So they're like swimming around and, or their little horse bulls are swimming around, and they see all sorts of different things. You get a glimpse of like how there's like floating shops everywhere, and you can just take your boat right up to these shops.
Yes.
You look at the design of the city, the canals that like some of them actually go up. The water like pushes up, or it pushes down towards you, but the bulls can ride up them.
Exactly.
And they clearly like go after it. They want to do that.
Yes.
Like, they're like, oh, this is fun. And I think it's because they just wanted the fun ride of getting to slide down the big old slide with us. And oh, so cute.
Yes, it was very fun to watch. And then they start noticing that some people are wearing like masks,
Yeah.
which is a bit creepy. They haven't figured out. They just mentioned it. But okay. And then we cut to the Shipwrights, and we meet the Shipwrights, and we see them talking to some pirates who refuse to pay the work that they did for them.
Yes.
And they're sort of like, well, we're pirates. We're not going to pay you. And that's when we learn that the Shipwrights are very badass, and they just beat up all of these pirates.
Yeah. It's so this whole time, like as the Straw Hat ship is coming into port in Water 7, all of these people are like, hey, what do you do? No, pirates this way.
Yeah.
And like go that way. And they're like, oh, there's a good place to take your ship through the back route. And so all these people have been surprisingly nice and welcoming to these pirates. And you realize, like, on the one hand, okay, like, you know, if they're paying customers, yeah, why wouldn't they? Like, of course, they probably make tons of ships for pirates.
Of course, exactly.
I mean, they're going to pay.
Grand line.
They're going to get their money. But still, like, aren't they afraid of pirates plundering and doing the piratey things that
They're
do?
very casual about it.
This is how you figure out why no one cares.
Yes.
It's because they've got shipwrights who are strong as heck and are going to beat people up if they do their piratey looty mean things.
We see Iceberg and Khalifa for the first time, and he asks her something, and she says yes, and these guys, sexual harassment. And I didn't get that. Can you please explain that to me? Because
Oh my God.
she just said it. And I'm like, wait, so are they wanted for this? Is this like a note she has on them?
So if I remember correctly, Khalifa just kind of says that.
Really?
Like,
That is so weird.
I don't quite remember. I think because looking back on it and like since you're asking, it makes me think of kind of when other One Piece characters have their weird laughs.
Yeah.
Or they just finish statements with like, you know, noises or whatever. And like that's just her thing.
That's just
is
her
like
thing.
calling things sexual harassment and like, you know.
Because she does it again, and she uses another term which wasn't sexual harassment, but obviously this was stuck to me. So maybe that's just like her tick or something.
I think so.
Sort of like Hina's thing is talking about herself in third person, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Where she just like kind of, they give her these little one-liners and things that accentuate her whole, I don't know, she seems to draw a line of like a very like put together and tough woman who just this like secretary role where she just is badass and like keeping things together.
Yes.
I don't know.
Interesting.
So I know, good question.
I was like,
no
what?
real answer because
Exactly.
it is odd.
I was wondering if it was just there because that's what it seems like, and yeah, it is what it is.
Yep.
So, the shipwrights basically beat up the pirates, and everything's back to normal.
Yeah.
Then we see Luffy and crew enter the elevator to downtown, which was super cool.
Yes,
Like
because the water like goes underneath, and the water pressure builds up because they close the dams, and it lifts them up to the top, and now they're on the top level, which is like downtown Water 7.
Yes.
Blows my mind.
I know. It's literally like the levels of a fountain, and you can go up and down them. That is so cool.
But it did make me wonder, like, when they do release the doors at the lower level, then probably this big old flood of water comes out, and I wonder how the rest of the city kind of handles it. Do they just expect like a rise of water in the middle of the day or something?
Maybe like a timed thing.
Yeah, a time thing. I don't
Interesting.
know.
That's a very good question.
I don't know. The things I think about while watching One Piece. Physics.
Yeah,
water.
I'm not the only one.
Yeah, right?
So back at the ship, Sanji realizes that Robin is gone because she left with Chopper, and he's stuck with Zoro. And
lame.
Super lame.
Loser.
So he obviously doesn't like that. And he leaves to go grocery shopping. And I'm like, does anybody remember what happened the last thing we left Zoro alone? He just went swimming in the freezing water at Chopper's Island, and he got lost. Like, why are we just
But let's do this
Zoro?
again. Why not? So Zoro just falls asleep on the ship.
Yeah.
Doing what he does best. Meanwhile, we see Robin and Chopper. They've found their bookstore because, again, they're little nerds together, you know, looking for info and cool stuff and books. And Chopper heads in, but meanwhile,
somebody with a mask walks by Robin and whispers CP9 to her. And she freezes. And by the way, she's wearing a super cool outfit, too. She's got, like, this long sleeve short dress with high boots. Looks so cute. So she freezes, and then she just starts following this person. I'm like, oh no, is she hypnotized now? Like, was that like a, you know, how they like
a thing, a power or something? Yeah. Okay.
Or when they brainwash you and they leave like a trigger word there that when you listen to it, you're activated. Like, that's what I thought.
Right. So what do you think CP9 is?
I have no idea. I have no idea what it is.
That is so cool. Like, I love that because I never would have thought of it as like a password, but it makes total sense. It does sound like something you would just, a word to hypnotize someone, because her reaction, you wouldn't expect her to just
or is it something like
Luffy.
Like a code or
Chopper.
Or like, you know, how if we have a secret code and if I ever use this, you have to come do this for me or else. Like, that's what I think. Either she's like hypnotized or brainwashed, or this person has some sort of super vital code, prearranged code with her. But who is it? We don't know.
Yes. You don't know yet. I know, but you don't know.
It's taking so long, Jonna.
You will find out the answer to this one pretty soon.
Oh, thank you.
You will know pretty soon.
Thank you.
Don't worry. It won't be until the current sub-arc or anything. You're fine.
Oh, thank God. So,
but,
we see that happening, and then we cut back to Zoro, who's sleeping, and then the ship is getting invaded by people while he sleeps, and they're just like
crawling up on the ship, surrounding the ship,
him. And I'm like, Zoro, who are you people? To be continued.
To be continued.
We just have one more episode.
Episode 231, The Franky Family and Iceberg.
Franky.
Yes.
Oh, man. I was so
So
disappointed.
you recognize the name.
Yes. Well, I have. This was after our One Piece panel on AX, we had Patrick Seitz as a guest.
Okay.
And yeah, so he does the voice of Franky.
Yes.
So I know who Franky is. So I sort of have that spoiler when I heard that Luffy wanted a shipwright. I was like, oh, I know who's coming next.
Yes.
So I've been waiting. I've been expecting for this name to pop up. Like, for forever.
Right.
Yeah.
But now it's in the form of the Franky family.
Yeah.
And they're ambushing Zoro on the ship and trying to, like, take over the ship. And they already know about, like, a lot about, like, Pirate Hunter Zoro and their history.
Yes.
What were your thoughts?
I don't know. I was like, who? Because, yeah, like I said, I was expecting the name, and then turns out it's the Franky family. No familiar faces. And I'm like, wait, so who are these people? Like,
Right, who are
they? Like, do they investigate pirates? Are they bounty hunters too? And what is Zoro gonna do now?
Obviously,
He's alone.
kick their butts.
Yeah,
He didn't have too much trouble.
Exactly. So he just wakes up and he sends everybody just flying off the ship.
And then he goes back to sleep.
Nothing happened. Jocelyn,
Nothing
you
at
were
all.
right for nothing.
But then you see more of the Franky family. They're still stalking the other Straw Hats,
Yes.
Luffy, Nami, and Usopp, as they go to cash in their gold. Which,
And-
oh my gosh, this scene. Luffy.
Luffy's a bad negotiator. We
He's
can see that.
Terrible. Because the second the guy says, oh, 100 million berries, Luffy loses it and he yells, like, oh, that much money. And you can see people, like,
100
listening
million
in.
berries, everybody.
Oh, my God.
Like, stop yelling.
Like, stop yelling. Like, and so Nami, we see also, she's just sitting there all quiet.
Yeah.
And suddenly she, like, puts her foot on the table. And you realize it's because she's interrupting the negotiations. And she's like, okay, two things. One, this guy is super strong. And two, you are lying.
Yes.
Don't do it again or I will kick your booty. So this guy basically, like, he freaks out. And, like, she basically just called his bluff. And turns out this stuff is worth, like, 350?
300 million.
300 million berries, something like that.
And I'm like, yes, Nami.
Yes.
Do your thing. I mean, if anybody's going to lead this negotiation, it should have been Nami from the start.
From the start. And I honestly, after this, when you see Luffy walk out of there swinging the dang, like, case of money, I have to wonder, like, Nami, you are so smart, but why did you go with Luffy?
Right?
Why? Like, I get he's your captain, and so, like, I guess discussing, you know, ship stuff, you have to have a captain, but, like, woof.
Yes.
Ugh.
It's like he has no care at all for how much money they're carrying in those suitcases.
No, it makes me so nervous. And it makes, like, her and Usopp nervous because he throws it into the water.
Yes.
And they go chasing after it, and then he catches it, and they just fall in, and I'm so mad. So, yeah, after this, he's, like, not allowed to touch the money.
Yeah.
No money cases for Luffy.
Yes. Which is the smart thing to do, honestly. Like, just keep Luffy away from the money. Thank you.
For real.
So, they get to the shipyard and start asking around about Iceberg. And so that's when they meet, like, this crew of Shipwrights.
Yes.
And they meet Kaku, I believe his name is.
Yes.
Right?
So it's the Galley Law shipwright crew, and this guy is kind of like the foreman of it, like just one of the important leaders of their team of shipwrights. And he's basically a square Usopp.
Yes. Yes. Oh my god. That is exactly it. Wow.
I mean...
Yeah, he's got like the long square nose.
And the eyelashes.
And the eyelashes.
Oh, God.
And I think they say it. Like somebody says
they call him
it.
a square Usopp.
Yeah.
It's so funny, and that gag just keeps running, like the whole way
arc.
through. I love it.
Oh my god!
Well, I don't know, like at least in this episode, and it's just so funny. But I was wondering, like, how did you feel about this guy? Your first impression?
I don't know, because when he comes up, he just looks so different. Like, like the structure of his face, like his design is just so, like, the lines are very bold, he's very square, and, you know, so it almost makes him a little creepy to me, because he doesn't look like anybody I've seen. Like, is he human? Like, it almost made me question if he was human.
Right.
So that's what I thought. And then he was a little bit suspicious, just going ahead of everybody. But I don't know what to think yet.
Okay, so that's kind of what I felt too. Like, I didn't like the way he was just like, they're like, oh, where's Iceberg? And he's like, oh, don't worry about that. Let me go see your ship first.
He was sort of being shady.
And I was reading that into that too. And it's just like, even the first time I watched it, I was like, I don't know, but he's so nice. And what is the line he says that I love so much? Oh yeah, they're like, Iceberg is the mayor, and that's what he tells them. Like, Iceberg is this important man, so the Luffy's like, wow, he must be important. And he says, darn skippy he is. Okay. At least in the dub. And I love how dumb his whole, like, language is. Like, I love the scriptwriters, whatever they did for him. Like, they gave him these little, like, words in there, and that's just his character. Is like,
he reminds me of, like, that sort of, older anime design, sort of.
A little bit, too, yeah.
Yeah. Like,
I can see that.
A little bit Astro Boyish.
I could see that kind of, like, feel with it.
Yeah, and the giddiness.
Yes.
So,
like, the peppiness.
Yeah,
and you're like,
exactly.
It's a kid's show. And
yeah.
Yeah. And he's only 23, too, which is funny. They even ask him. They're like, what the heck? What's up with you and your old talk? But, yeah, so he's like, just 2 shakes of lamb tail and I'll be back after, like, seeing your ship.
Okay.
So apparently 1 lamb tail shake is 5 minutes. So he tells them he'll be back in 10 minutes. In case you needed to know what a lamb tail shake.
Yeah, sure. That's what it takes? 5 minutes to shake?
I don't know. I don't know enough about lambs for that to make sense. But what did you think when this guy suddenly just takes off running?
What? So he has powers?
Yes.
Like, he just flew off. And I'm like, wait, so we just made this whole trip here, going up through canals and then the elevator, and you're just going to jump off the top of the city.
Yeah. And like, aren't you going to break your legs?
Yeah.
Yes, I think you called it there. Like, this is a power kind of thing.
Definitely a power.
It's definitely. And it's really cool because he flies all the way over there really quickly.
Yes, sort of majestically a little bit, too.
Majestically, yeah. I mean, this whole scene where you're behind him and he's, like, flying down onto the city. Like, I thought that was, like, a really good, well-directed shot. Meanwhile, like, Sanji is walking around shopping, and has this dumb scene with the cabbages, and like, this one's Nami, and this one's Robin. I want both. And he's walking around looking for like a fish store or something like that when he sees
Robin following this person.
Yeah.
Very suspiciously. Mm-hmm. And she just spots her, and that's where that scene ends. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, she just kind of disappears.
Yeah,
she doesn't answer his call.
Yeah.
I know, right? He tries to find her and she's gone.
She's gone.
Meanwhile, Zoro sees Kaku while he's kind of asleep, so he thinks it's Usopp again.
Yes.
Oh, and just before, like, Sanji looks up in the air and he thinks he sees Usopp flying over the rooftops. And no, it's Kaku with his gorgeous long square nose. And so when he gets on the ship, he immediately just walks on and starts looking at it like, make yourself at home, Kaku, why not? And then Zoro's like, hey, wait, who are you? And he's just saying, like, oh, yeah, like, we have to really take a look at this, ship and this mast and stuff.
It's broken.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Zoro was the one who broke it.
Yeah.
Too. It was just, like, pulling too hard on the ropes. That's when Iceberg and Khalifa are meeting Luffy's group.
Yes.
And this is when Khalifa, like, kills it.
Yeah, she's you can see that she's got it all figured out. Like, she's a great assistant or secretary, however she's called. I think it's secretary, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
They treat her like that.
So, and yeah, so Iceberg's like, what's my schedule? And she tells him all these meetings that he has, and he's like, well, I don't want to go to them. And she's like, okay, canceled. Like, she's like, she's got everything under control no matter what it is.
Right? Can I have a Khalifa? Like, just, hang out here. Can we have one here?
Yes,
just
we should.
Cancel all the meetings.
Everybody needs a Khalifa. I agree.
Everyone does. Yeah, she just nails it. And then Iceberg is over here introducing himself, and he's like, oh, and my mouse that I just picked up, his name is Tyrannosaurus.
Yes. And it's a tiny mouse on his
teeny
pocket.
tiny. It's so cute. That was a great way to just kind of paint a picture of a very kind of odd character.
Yes.
This iceberg character, he's very just, I don't know. It's a silly character, but I really like it. It's funny.
It is. It is very funny. And, we got a lot of intro to a lot of people. Like, we met the Shipwrights. We met Water 7.
Yeah.
We met Kaku, that we still don't know what his deal is. And then we have Iceberg and Khalifa. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, why is this the last episode?
I know. Okay.
I was so sad. So sad.
I know. It stinks that this was it. I had to ask, though, like, at what point, because they're having this conversation, and, like, there's the point when, like, Khalifa kicks their butts because they kind of insinuated mean things about Iceberg. At what point did you notice the cases were gone?
Right when they noticed.
Yeah.
Right when Usopp's, like, does, like, the surprise phase.
He's just like,
and I'm
what?
like, oh no.
I know.
Because I saw them sneaking. Because we see the Franky fam sneaking around. And I'm like, oh my God, they're going to take the money.
They're going to get there.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, before they start talking to Iceberg, you kind of see them, like, from far away. And they're just standing there, like... Mm-hmm. Nami is the only one smart enough to hold on to her case.
Money.
Meanwhile, Usopp has set them down on the ground. And then you don't see it. They keep the screen, like, above their waists, so you don't see what's happening. Then there is this one scene when they're talking, and you see them full on again.
Yeah.
And I noticed immediately, I was like, Nami's holding her case. Where's the rest of the money? And I was like, no! And someone has taken it, and it's the Franky family, and they're sailing away on their little bowls with the money.
With the money. More than half of the money.
More than half of it.
Usopp, you took it away from Luffy to protect it.
Exactly.
Oh, man. And that's where it ends. When they lose the money.
That's it.
And I have so many questions.
So many.
I really, really wanted more time to explore. But I'm glad that after this, I can watch more episodes.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you can keep watching.
So that's the end of this podcast episode.
What are your predictions?
So, I mean, I know we have to explore Water 7 more. Mm-hmm. And every time people talk about it, it's like they gasp. They do like this, Water 7!
Yes,
so
right?
I'm super excited. Like, I just know that we're going to have, like, this big adventure on this beautiful place. Like, I really want to see more of the city.
Yes, yeah. No, the city is, like, that is so cool. Like, just how it all works. It's so pretty. And then there's just so much going on. Like, you're gonna, like, find out what's going on with the masks.
Yes.
Like,
and
they
Robin.
kind of, they mentioned that's due to, like, the little circus town or island nearby, but I mean, what really is the deal?
Yes.
Robin
What's
with the
Robin?
CP9 thing.
CP9. I want to know her story. I want to know what happens.
What happens. And, like, honestly, what's with the galley law?
Yeah.
The group. Like, they're so strong. How do they get that way?
And where's Patrick? I want to know.
Patrick?
I mean, what's his name? Franky. Sorry. Patrick is a voice actor.
Oh.
Not Patrick. I know where Patrick is.
Where is Patrick? Who knows where he is?
You're like, Patrick. He's at home, Jocelyn.
He's at home. But yes, where is Franky?
Where is Franky?
He is...
I'm ready to meet a new crew member. So we'll see. So we hope you enjoyed this One Piece at a time. Don't forget to check out the Funimation blog at funny.to/One Piece podcast, which will be updated constantly with binge routes and everything you need to know. Also, head to our shop at funimation.com/shop and add One Piece home video to your collection. And for all things One Piece, follow us on Facebook at One Piece Official and Twitter at One Piece Anime.
We want to thank the people who make this podcast happen. The creator of One Piece, Oda Sensei, Toei Animation, the audio engineers, and of course, everyone joining us on this journey. All you Straw Hats out there listening. Also, please rate this podcast wherever you're listening to it and share it with other One Piece Nakamas.
Yes, share your love.
Share it.
The next One Piece at a time will cover anime episodes 232 to 239. So be sure to watch on Funimation now, subbed or dubbed, and be ready. See ya.
See ya.